What's his new motto?
Nice. Nice.
Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the show this evening as a one and only Albert and the King. Yes, the King of Rangers Radio. Bridgeman. Evening, boys. And I say that loosely.
I'm good. Evening, mate. I'm good. How are you used to it?
Big good evening to yourself, Albert, and yourself, Oxchair, and of course the techie guys in the background. And can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, welcome to Rangers Radio.
Yes, I just wish people could hear us a few minutes before we come on the air the story of Fox, the Ring Donuts, the police, and a nudist speech. But you can make your own mind up about that. Oh dear. Every day's a school day, Albert.
Oh, aye. And by the way, you can put them in any order you want.
What a story. What a man. What a man. Anyway, let's just say it was more than 6 donuts, but we'll leave it at that. Right.
Oh, brilliant.
How are you, Albert? And then Bridgeman can come in on the game. We've not heard the Bridge. All right, Albert?
I'm happy, chappy.
Mate, good. Good, mate. How's the Bridge? What did you make of the game on Sunday, mate? We've not heard from you.
Well, I think number one, a huge relief that we scored a goal. A good goal too. Really well worked and well done. I think that that goal carried us through to the end. It was 1-0 going on 5 or 6-0 really. You know, we missed so many chances. Created a lot of chances for each other, the team that is. But they just couldn't put the ball away. Once again, they couldn't put it away. And that allowed Dundee United to come back into the game. But really, I really did think Dundee United were powder puff. But that's not, some of the, there's no excuse for Rangers not scoring goals, let's put it that way, other than just poor play. But I think Rangers thoroughly deserved the win. They're a better team all the way through. They played on the front foot for the vast majority of the game. And as far as I'm concerned, they were brilliant. For me, good victory. Could have been a lot more result-wise. But no, very happy with the result.
No, you've had time to reflect on what was the most pleasing aspect for you?
Seeing all the new players for a start. I'm happy with the first half. I know people are going 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I was happy with the whole first half. I thought we played really well. Happy with their attitude as well. Most of the players. Second half, a wee bit more consistent. We'd done a few changes. He done it before half time as well, but he done a few changes and we failed to cope with it or do anything to stop it. Apart from that, I was happy. Well, generally happy, really happy about the result because everybody outside the Rangers was expecting us up there to drop points and it was all a big joke and a big ha-ha, but they done well. Showed a bit of character to get a 1-0 victory. Under difficult circumstances, mate, let's be honest about it.
Pressure, let's be honest, because we've got ourselves under a bit of pressure early on in the season because we had dropped 5 out of 6 points away from home. Yeah, that's the statistics. We've now took 4 out of 9, and we've got to keep that going and improve that record, Bridget.
Absolutely, and that team we were playing in the weekend they're undefeated, if my memory serves me right. But they've done well. They're not a bad team, as a unit. But I would suggest the first maybe 30 minutes, they weren't in the same league as Rangers. Rangers were head and shoulders above them in every way, in every position. And then, of course, as Albert says, they make a wee change here or there, and it kind of bamboozles them. But there are a lot of youngsters in their team, and they're coming through. They're coming through well. I love the result. I think it was absolutely brilliant. I said it when asked. I said I'm going for a 1-0 because it's always a tough place to go to, and Rangers can, and they showed it. I don't even know if our goalkeeper had any direct saves to make. I know he went to try and save a couple, but he missed them, or the ball would pass the post or something. But I didn't see it. I didn't see any danger from them at all, other than the usual pumping the ball in and hoping for the best, or looking for a blunder, and all the rest of it. I think the referee gave them every decision there was going. I think the referee gave them it. There should have been at least, I would suggest, at least 2 red cards for Dundee United players. Absolutely shocking, going for the man the way they went twice. It's just no right. Anyway, Don Robertson was rubbish.
I don't think it's a great game. There was a couple of bookings that we got that I felt if it happened the other way, I'd have been looking for a booking all, but you've got to be fair, haven't you?
You got to be fair, mate. But the one on Barron, that was a red card, mate, all day long. That was a red card because last season, before it happened to Sterling, they went, no, it's just a booking. It's a wee bit late, but booking. He's getting a wee bit excessive force, blah, blah, blah. But since then, no, it's a red card. They're dishing red cards out, and that clown Robertson and the Sterling one, he went to the monitor and upheld his decision. When VAR were telling him, have a look at this because it's just a yellow card if it is that. No, it's a red card. He's a clown at you. And it was him that was disallowed the roof goal when Dessers took the ball off that centre half for the dark side, and saying, "Oh, it was tight." It's not a foul at all. The guy's a clown, mate. A total clown. Too many wrong decisions. 10 yellow cards. One was for
Wasn't it done again? Was it?
No, but you know what's going on now. It's just, I mean, our last game as well, we're getting yellow cards all over the place that are no really yellow cards. And you're going, toting up. You're getting to the business end of the season if we're still in the league, that is. And then you're starting to get suspensions and all sorts of nonsense. I mean, I just suspect this. I'm suspicious at the moment of what they're up to. It's just wrong. I've watched that McGregor over the dark side, watched him with professional fouls, man. I've seen that guy getting away with 6 professional fouls in the one game and no even getting booked for anything. So you're still looking and going, how's the rule for him and a different rule for Rangers players? It's a fact, mate. In my mind, it's a fact anyway.
Jeffy and Sterling, and then the new Morelos and Jack.
Oh, see, like say Jeff, I hope they're not starting to pick on him the way they did with Morelos when Morelos first came in and Jack. No, I mean, I hope it's not one of these situations because these referees are prone for this. They've got history. Mate.
Rich,
they won't leave Jeffy alone at all. They'll make sure they'll watch him, and they'll book him as quickly as they can. They'll book him, and what's going to happen there. It's going to any player that gets booked early. They know they're going to have to be very careful for the rest of the game. The way the referee's going, you can book him for anything, and I just don't understand it. I saw James Tavernier, and I saw James Tavernier getting booked for being shoved. The guy came in and shoved him, and Tavernier did the same, turned around and shoved him back. And we'll just book the two of them. Wait a minute, that's what the guy did was totally wrong. Sorry, I get really upset. That referee is a bunch of. Never mind. I'm going to say it. I know. I don't understand how that guy is in our game. I don't understand it. He's one of the most incompetent referees there is, and how on earth he always ends up at a Rangers game, I don't know.
Albert, Jeffrey and Ganami, they're young boys, but they seem to have brought, I don't know if it's just enthusiasm or pace. Ganami came on at the weekend, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And he's the main talking point for the game for me. I've even thought about it, mate.
I mean, he's half for his own. He played well. He did play well. I was thinking away for that. We're not going to lump all this pressure on. He's this, that, the next thing. You can see the boy's got talent. He has got talent. Same as Jeffrey. He's got talent as well, man. And that's what they've brought to the team, let's be honest about it. We've watched mediocre players for this long. When you get a wee bit of talent in a player, or you see it in a Rangers player, we've got a tendency to go overboard about it because the mediocrity for the last 12 years in the club has been devastating, mate. It really is. It's sad. But to my mind, they brought what you said, enthusiasm. But they've also brought a bit of talent, and they have got talent. You can see it. So that's fun. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Cortez as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that boy. And the Bayrami. Is that how you say him? Bayrami. Aye. I'm looking forward to seeing him as well.
Yeah, he wasn't involved much at the weekend, but listen, you know, the ball's got, when you're playing wide left, the ball's got to go your way for a start, isn't he? He didn't do a lot, but we'll see. We'll not judge him with that. We'll see how it develops. But overall, a Bridgeman result, Bridge, 3 points down the road, and you move on. Eh?
Absolutely, clean slate. You know, kept a clean sheet. You can't ask for any better than that, really. Keep a clean sheet, score one or more goals, and your way. If you can play well for any big chunks of the game, and Rangers did, the only problem Rangers have got is they go back into this. I would suggest it's a bit nonsense, but the manager needs to get it sorted where they fall out of the game, particularly the midfield. They tend to get overpassed or passed over, should I say? And all these things, they're doing really well, and then all of a sudden a change takes place within the structure of the opposition, and they can outplay us, and that's a wee bit. They'll get used to it, but they'll get used to that, and the boys will. I thought they were great. I've got no complaints at all about any of them. I think every one of them worked their socks off. Tannadice is a terrible place to go. It's a terrible pitch, terrible club. It's just a terrible place to visit. And we did well.
I don't think you can complain about the pitch. I
always complain about the pitch. I'm sorry to say. I always complain about the pitch.
That pitch was immaculate, wasn't it? The weekend all better.
Oh, aye, Bridge, it was like a bowling green, mate. We can't complain about that. I know what you're saying in the past. It has been a quagmire, man. It has been a ploughed field, but it wasn't on Saturday. It was absolutely perfect on Saturday.
I can't take anything away from them investment in the pitch. I can't take anything away from that way. I just don't like that. So.
Oh, that's a different story, Bridge.
I'm way there, Bridge. Oh.
But maybe you want to look at your contrast to that 92-inch screen, mate, because maybe you're not seeing the grass right.
I only see one thing, and you know it, and that's the blue jerseys. That's all I see. and I see the attacks on them constantly. Change of players. Get him. Just. By the way, I think the way we played. And that boy Tom, can't remember his second name for the life of me. Tom Lawrence. I think the skill he's got is coming through. It's been a while since he actually showed that, but there are lots and lots of running into the box, tremendous stuff. Just no get the right finish. That's all, except the one he scored. I think he's smashing. We've got a midfielder that's willing to go into the box. That's what we want. Pick the ball up and go to the box.
Austin, you look at numbers. He scored 2 goals in the last 3 games.
Yeah,
and he missed one at Hampden, and he should have scored to make it 2-0. You know, he should have had maybe 3 goals. Maybe he's got a point to prove to the manager. He said, by the way, I should have been playing in that big game. You know.
Yeah.
You don't know Albert, do you?
No, I don't. I didn't want him in the Old Firm game, to be perfectly honest with you, mate, because I definitely think they just block him out too easy. Same as they done with Cantwell, just block him out too easy. So they nullify him. And at best, Lawrence is never a 90-minute player. He never is. He's never in the game for 90 minutes. He's bits and starts, wee bits here and there. He's a quality player when he's on his game or he's on the ball at times. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I think Clement, I don't think he needs to prove any Clement, because I think Clement actually likes him. And he's going to hang his hat on him. Don't know if I agree that he should be doing that, but we've got all these new players and we're building a team. So I suppose he's got to depend on somebody. So it's got to be Lawrence. But he is a quality player, mate. There's no going to put away for that. He's just not enough in the game for me. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. He's just not in the game enough.
I thought that young Barron, once again, outstanding.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah. Right, okay. We're going to move on. The game's gone for Sunday. And Bridgeman, just your last thoughts on it, mate, because obviously me and Albert were on the aftermatch show and we've heard your views, and just sum up what you thought and also put you in the spot for the Bridgeman's man of the match.
For my man of the match,
Yes.
I would have Barron for me, man of the match. I think he was a superb game. Covered every blade of grass. Really, really good. The rest of the players all put their heart into it. You mentioned Jefte and the wee boy Carlos. Is it Carlos? Cortez, sorry, Cortez. And I think they both played quite well. But, you know, the referees have got it in for Rangers players. As far as I'm concerned, there's not very many referees going to give them a break at all. And sometimes we walk into these things. But overall, I thought young Barron, man of the match for Rangers.
I find it hard to disagree with that. I mean, I gave it to Lawrence because he had a big moment in the game on Sunday, Bridge, but I find it hard to disagree with that. You know, I thought Barron was... I'm not being disrespectful with the boy. He did neat and tidy. He does everything without the first bother. He's a team player, all better.
He's a crank wee player, mate. I really like him. He was my man of the match as well on Sunday. And I just like him, mate. I just think he's a cranking player. I just think he reads the game really well, and he puts a lot of fires in it. He's one of the players that you don't always see, and he's no spectacular in a game, but he's very, very effective. You know what I mean? I like players like... You need players like that. Not everybody can be the star. Not everybody can shine and be brilliant on the ball and brilliant pass, brilliant goals and all that. But you definitely need the guys like him. We've had them in the past, mate, unsung heroes. They just go on with their job. They're solid 7, 8s, 9s out of 10s every week. And wee Barn fits that one. I think he's a crank wee player, mate. A lot of time for him.
Sasa Parpatch in the midfield, 7 out of 10 every week. Does that make sense, Bridge? Sorry, Albert. There you go.
Aye, exactly, mate. Exactly that. We've had them. We've had like who I'm trying to think. Wee McCall. You know what I mean? People like that. Ian Ferguson. People like that. That's me. Fits into me for his consistency and his effectiveness in a team. And the list is endless, mate. Himdani, I remember Himdani being very effective, brilliant player in Europe. If you remember, played a big part in getting to the UEFA Cup final 2008. So I like players like that. You've got to have them, mate. You've just got to have them. And let's hope we can build a team. I mean, there's enough players there now we can actually get a foundation for a team now. That's what I'm liking. And plus, it was a breath of fresh air that when we were picking a man of the match, we had 2, 3, 4 contenders for it this time. Normally, we're scratching our head and saying, who do you get to? You know what I mean?
Aye. The young man's been consistent as well, Bridge.
Aye. You know, we mentioned, Albert mentioned Himdani. Himdani was a tremendous defensive midfielder that could read a game. He could have played anywhere in a midfield. Anywhere. I think he was a really talented guy. Wonderful player for Rangers. Wonderful player. Scored a couple of goals as well, you know. I really liked him. I think that I can't remember. I thought Cortez was a bit, in Sunday, it was a bit, how can we say, a wee bit over careful, because we know he's been injured and so on and so forth. So, and I was happy at the end of the game, or whenever he went after the park, wherever it was, I was happy to get through uninjured, and that makes a big difference. So we'll get no other than the young Barron. I don't know if he don't know if he after the game he was saying he was badly injured or anything like that. I don't think so.
Nothing, mate.
No, so I mean, for Rangers to come through a game like that with a victory and no injuries, brilliant.
It's 2 days since we've had a game, mate. We've picked up another 4 injuries since then, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, no, that's not. I'm happy because if you can get through a Premier League game away from home and get no injuries, that's brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, a victory. Wow. It's super.
Yeah, and obviously Cortez coming back's a plus all there. Yeah, listen, we're not going overboard, but he showed the bits, didn't he?
Oh, he's a talented boy, mate. There's no getting away from it. And that was him. I wouldn't even say that's him at 30% of his effectiveness on Sunday there. There's a lot more to come for that boy. We all know it. And you just hope he stays fit and healthy. Anyway, that's what you're hoping for. And we've no control over that, actually, if you really think about it, because if we did, we wouldn't be taking all these injuries. But it's sad that we were happy with 28 inches, isn't it? That's a big plus for us coming off the park with no injuries. But the boy is a quality player, quality player. It's good, mate. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the Bears out there think, but from my point of view, I can see blue shoots of recovery. No doubt about it, mate. The club's starting to get somewhere. We still need leadership. I know we're coming on to that, but at the end of the day, you're looking at the players now, and you're actually looking forward to see some of these players. Whereas before, I was just sick of watching the same old draws season after season. You're going, nothing's changing here. It's just garbage, absolute garbage. Well, we've cleaned it out now. We asked for a gut out and a clean out. We got it. I know you've got these young, exciting players. The trouble with it is now, in my opinion, we need to let these young boys breathe. We need to let their characters come out now. We're bombarding them with this expectation. And don't get me wrong, they need to know that they need to win. They know that. You get that, and I'm fine. But see this, Rangers are this, and in the past, and we've won all these trophies, and we've done all that. Just burying the guys with responsibility, and it's got nothing to really do with them. No, I mean, if you just leave them alone, let them develop, and let their own characters shine through, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the team we can build here.
A lot of truth in that. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get the time to take that, but yeah, the boys have got to be allowed to blossom. Shall we say, blossom?
Keep winning football matches. Keep winning and keep
exactly.
Winning. Yeah, you know, we've got to remember who we're playing most weeks. I mean, we're expected to win if we get the attitude right, which is sometimes failed us. With this freshness, with hopefully a bit more pace and a bit more guile. And potentially, we'll see how the young boy goes. And maybe fighting for Dessers for that top spot out there. Yeah, that could change the whole dynamics because, look, we know that Dessers' numbers are the worst it's ever been, but he is the biggest enigma. I can't think of anybody who got a standing ovation going off against Ross County. He had a good game against Ross County. I think he was involved in a few of the goals, scored 2 himself, one of them a good finish, and then the next 2 games, at times he looks as if he can't trap a bag of cement. I just don't know anybody so high and so low constantly. He's an enigma like I've never known of him.
Aye, well, I'd just say he's a bad football player, man. That's what I'm saying now. I mean, I called him a carrot horse, I've called him all sorts, and then he does something absolutely brilliant. You say, good grief, that was excellent. But he's full of these contradictions. You know what I mean? He does things that's just unbelievable. And then you look at him and you say to yourself, to me, I'm starting to think it's lack of concentration, mate. Seeing he can't trap a ball, that's just lack of concentration. That's got nothing to do with, you can trap the ball at times, but a lot of the times he doesn't trap the ball. So you're saying, no, it's lack of concentration. And then he chats his own self off a game. No, I mean, he's greeting at referees and rolling about like a big lassie and greeting about this, that, and the next thing. Oh, look at you, bust my lip. Oh, look at this, look at that. Oh, he pulled me. These referees now are just looking at them and saying, no matter what happens to you, you're very. You need to get every 10 fouls on you. You lucky to get one now. Whereas other players will get 7 or 8 who are not really getting fouled, but they're playing the referees and they're going to get the fouls. He just makes himself visible, and then he chats himself off his own game. With all this moaning and rolling about, and you're saying, just get up and go on with it, mate. Just get on with it. If you want to shut people up and you want to shut oppositions up and referees, put the ball in the net. That shuts everybody up. Nobody can argue with you then. And especially in important games, put the ball in the net. Simple, mate. Absolutely simple.
But you know, can I just say, I'm trying to defend things. I just saw that our manager got booked at the same time as their player got booked for that terrible tackle on wee young Barham, and it should have been, that was a 100% red card every day of the week and every night after it, every single time.
No,
straight for the foot.
Bridgeman, he didn't get booked then.
Did the boy get booked?
No,
wasn't long after. Wasn't it the same incident? Is that what you're saying?
Bridge. It wasn't even the same half.
Okay. I'm just saying, I know he get booked.
Right. Remember, we're talking to people out there, so what you were.
Yes, I understand. I'm just angry. I'm just angry at the manager getting booked.
He get booked with the Yefty challenge, wasn't it, Albert?
Oh, that's right enough. That's right.
Right in front of him.
Right in front of him. Aye.
He's again. He gets booked for, and the other manager doesn't get. It's just endless, mate. It's tiresome. It's tiresome. It really is. Again, that's where the leadership in the club. We need to start calling us. You can't continue like this much longer, mate, because that mob across the city are calling it. They've had one bad decision in the 3 seasons that I've seen, and that was the Hearts one. And look at there was letters flying about, and people were getting told everything.
They wanted the league stopped, didn't they?
Aye. Well, it wasn't right. It's the biggest injustice in the world. I mean, 50 years they've been great and they've been getting cheated. And we all know that smoke screen was. It was all about child abuse, mate. It's just get your sight after the child abuse that was going on up there. Call, we're getting cheated, this and all that. Carry on. And now we're into this situation in present time, and you're saying to yourself, you can't just let this go on like this. You've got to call this out. But we don't. We don't do it because that's not the Rangers way. We just silently go on with our business and get cheated again.
Yeah. Well, leadership, mouthpiece, whatever you want to call it, you know. And I think if you're being honest, some of the questions that the manager's getting asked, that we need somebody else here, somebody to say no, he's not here to answer their questions. He's here to answer about the team, the squad. Yeah, whether the Steelworks arrived has nothing to do with Philip Clement in modern football. Maybe if you went to Wally Waddle, maybe Mr. Struth, and they had that influence in clubs where they were involved in every project. Modern football, he's not got a clue if his Steelworks coming. He might get an update, but it's not his responsibility, is it, Bridge?
Correct. Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, we hold these press conferences and we let some of the worst people who are in the press attend, and they know how to move they know how to change the momentum of the conference, the press conference. And
it's a real difficult one, taking on the press, isn't it? That's the problem.
It's murder. And look, that guy, if he's in his own area, he's very strong of character. But when they ask him, what about that order that's stuck in China? Well, what do you want me to say, you know? What do you want me to say? Go and speak to so-and-so, which is ideally what he could have done. Go away, go and speak to so-and-so, because I can't tell you that. But no, they get him, they corner him. And it happens every other week. It happens. The manager gets cornered. And he ends up with, instead of answering, what's happening in this is our shape. We saw this and we saw somebody moving like that. We want to do that. They never get these questions about the tactics, and they don't seem to be anyway. So ask him questions about tactics and so on and so forth. That's his responsibility. Then he can answer it.
I agree. That's fair, isn't it? Fair.
Well, normally his interviews, the Clement's interviews last 17 minutes, mate, and it's usually the last 2 minutes of the interview, and virtually 2 minutes of the interview to talk about the upcoming game. 15 minutes of utter garbage, that you're going to stop answering these stupid questions. There's one guy in that, I don't know who it is, and all he does is bring that mob of the other side of the city, bring their name into your conversations, into your press conferences all the time, mate. I hear it all the time. And I'm saying, why is allowing him to mention their name in our press conferences? This is a Rangers press conference, but an upcoming Rangers game. Why are we mentioning them? And it happens time and time and time again. This is what you need, that you just pointed out there. You need somebody in there controlling this. Somebody outside the manager to control this, to say, no, hold on a minute. Or brief the manager, say, you can say no comment. And say to the players, you can say no comment. And that's the worst thing that you can do to a journalist, no comment. Because they're thriving on words that you're going to come out of your mouth. But if you just say no comment, that's it. I'm not going to answer.
Above my pay grade. Above my pay grade, yeah.
That's it, mate. That's it. And just shut it down and go, I'm not answering that. And that's it's done. I'm not giving you a headline for that. I'm just sick of listening to him, and you're going, that idiot, I hear his voice. I don't know who he is, but I'm telling you, man, if I was in there, I would just say about him. I'm telling you, that's what I would do with him.
No, we're not condoning violence, are we, Bridgeman?
Well, not tonight.
Good answer, Bridge.
I agree with Albert. It's infuriating. I get very, very angry when I listen to the press conferences, because they pigeonhole the manager, as he says, for what 15 out of the 17 minutes at the press conference. Why we got a press conference that lasts 17 and 20 minutes? What's that about? Should only be about half a dozen questions, and here we go, just answer the questions about football, and that's it. We should have someone sitting beside him or close to him. I know he just got, well, don't answer that. That's it. Don't answer that. And away they go. And that's all they need to do. And then they'll find out why the Rangers not want to that. Well, it's not about football. Simple. In my opinion.
Listen, there is a place. I mean, the supporters deserved an update for the press or the club about what was happening in the stadium. But it's no Philip Clement's remit, is it?
No.
Right. Okay.
I certainly wouldn't expect him to be answering questions about that.
No, not at all.
When's that order coming in, Philip? What order are you talking about?
You'd maybe get an expert rigger in to comment on that, yeah?
Excuse me. Yes, indeed. I'd love to.
But if the club actually come out and says this is the official site, if you hear anything on this site, I know we've got one, but if you should tell the fans this is the truth, this is what you'll get it for. Here, forget about press conferences, forget about outside noise. This is where you get the information, and they need to start feeding that site with information that the fans should get to know. I mean, for example, we're bored at the moment. That should be fit. That site, official site, so the Rangers fans know. No more gossip, no more garbage, hot air, no more noise all over the place about Rangers. You want to know about Rangers? That's where you go. That's where the facts are, and that's the end of it, mate. You need to cut this out. You need to take this power away from these keyboard warriors.
How do you win by the press, mate? They've got the last word, didn't they?
Of course. You win with the press with brown envelopes, mate. Same as other clubs are doing. That's how you win with the press. It's quite simple. They're no honourable people, mate. Let's not kid ourselves on there.
Be careful what you say on here, mate. Just be careful, yeah, because this is live.
Yeah.
All right.
Aye.
All right. Listen, we've got a wee bit of music coming, and it's just to get people's opinion on it. So if you don't mind getting yourself a mute. Bridgeman, your thoughts?
It's a hit. I'll buy it and give it 5. I think it's a tremendous tune, the Caledonia, and I'd be quite happy for that could be our anthem. I really truly believe it, and the words are brilliant. Words are brilliant, and you could just imagine all the whole of Ibrox singing that song. Simple, but you could just imagine them doing it. I like it.
There might be one person who's singing it. Albert.
No, come on. That's tragic, by the way. I spent a better night with a toothache and listening to that. That's honestly, that's sad. I just can't go it. I don't like it at all, mate. Not in the slightest. I knew you were going to play that. I was saying, oh no, here we go again.
Right. So before we move on to the some of the office steel, but we're going to have a poll tonight. Ibroxtonia is a hit or a miss. Hit or a miss. Simple as that, yeah? So are you in Albert's camp or are you in Bridgeman's camp? I'm in a Bridgeman's camp. I think it's the best tune. But we've had a few good ones in the last few years, but the old Magic Hat was Bridges' personal favourite back in the day. Wasn't it? You like that number, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved that one.
Every time I was with you and you sang it, I get fined.
It's true, isn't it? It really is. No, I love that. I love that. I love Rangers songs.
Mm-hmm. And what's your rationale for not liking it, Albert?
Too Scottish for me, mate. I'm British.
All right, okay. Do you not accept it's annoying more people up than... Yeah?
Oh, I don't mind that. Why you're in it, but it's annoying not them up. Why you're in, do it. But for enjoyment's sake, for me to enjoy a Rangers song, it's not for me, mate. No, sorry.
I think there's too many words in it for you.
Probably. It takes too long to learn.
That was especially for you, Albert. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Oh, I knew you were going to do it. No. You should. I shouldn't tell you what you like, what you don't like. Just go along. That's great. It's a smashing song.
Well, you can't hold your water. Well, you know what it's like on here. We'll go back to the donuts. The noodles, fox and the coppers. Nothing sacred, is it?
No. Nothing sacred. Nothing.
Just for the record, they weren't ring donuts, Bridge.
Oh, jeez. That's the song I like, and I hope the fans like it, and it'll be a really good anthem at Ibrox when they're all belting it out. That's what I like. Forgive me, unless I've missed it. That's what we were speaking about, isn't it?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
So I'll buy it and give it 5, as Janice used to say.
Oh, you better
many years
explain
ago.
that one. You better explain that one.
No. That was what was it? I can't even remember the name of it, but I'll buy it and give it 5.
Was that
The hits,
was
something
was
to do
it?
with the hits.
It's a hit, wasn't it?
It was a hit. It's a hit.
Box Jury was that?
Jukebox
Aye,
Jury it could have been, yes.
Yeah,
It
I've seen
was.
that in UK.
It was a young Liverpool lassie, and she had represented the public. So
Right. All right. Well, so it's a hit for you and a miss for Albert,
I Albert's doing it big for a nationalistic perspective, I think, as opposed to Rangers. He just doesn't like it because it's about Scotland.
The wheels are turning. The wheels are turning in his head. Now he's writing, wait a minute, this is a double bluff. This is winding people up. He's going to grow to love it. I know how that mind works, Albert.
I'm I'd rather just sing a sash, mate. Let's be honest about it. That winds enough of them up.
Oh dear. So you need to be more subtle.
So we don't do subtle.
Right, okay. Well, we're going to move on a wee bit for the football, and I'm going to get you two gentlemen's thoughts on what's happened after the part, because you were two more experienced or mature. I don't know if that's the right word, mature, for you two, but very experienced campaigners, and I've seen a lot over the years. We seem to be at a crossroads. a leadership. And listen, we want to pay tribute to John Bennett. Yeah, maybe his term as chairman's not been the best, but we wish him all the best and hope his health gets over the health problems that he's got first and foremost, and he can be back at Rangers as a fan. Because don't forget, first and foremost, he's a Rangers supporter. Yeah, people make mistakes or make decisions that people don't like. That's life. Well, there's some of them have impacted us. Maybe he's went the other way and been outvoted. We don't know, Albert, do we? So we wish him all the best in his health battles, do we?
No, that's it. It's John Bennett. I mean, I must admit, I don't like when people are attacking him. I think that's totally unfair on the man. It really is. The guy's done a lot of things for the club. And the way I look at John now, and I wish him all the best, and I hope he recovers for his illness, is look where we're sitting right now. Now, a lot of people saying we're in a mess, we're a shambles, we're this, we're that, the next thing. Well, maybe we were, maybe we're not. We don't know because nobody told us what's happening behind the scenes. We don't get to know that. We get to guess about it, but we don't get to know about any facts behind there. But if you look where we are with John Bennett, okay, right, the football side of it, we all great and moan about the squad not being right, not being good enough, too high wages, FT, the fair play, the FT, whatever, rules and regulations. Well, as far as I'm aware, John Bennett's brought that back into line. He's cleaned out the squad. He's given permission for the squad to be cleaned out, and it's been cleaned out. Let's be honest. Still with more to go. He's brought the wages down, so he's reduced that £10.5 million deficit by a good amount. And I would imagine again we don't get told the figures to the books are out. So from a financial point of view, he's brought us back into line for a few things, and from a football point of view, he started the rebuild of the squad. Now for the operational side, i.e. doing up the stadium, okay, we're selling a pickle with the stand. That's a fact. No entirely up to his fault. There was, I believe, a project manager involved in this. So, but he takes his blame. He takes his share of the blame because, let's be honest, you can delegate authority, but you can't delegate responsibility. So he's responsible for it being the chairman. And the man stood up and said, that's it. Everybody's wanting to give him updates on that particular part of it. But he couldn't do it because he's no facts, mate. He's absolutely no facts to tell everybody. All he can tell is people is the steelwork's late. And that's all he did. That's all he could tell them. Then when he actually gets a wee bit of information, he tells you and then says there's variables in it. And nobody liked that. But he's telling you the truth, mate. The guy was just telling you the truth. Now we're in a situation with no chairman, no CEO, and director of football, which I'm not quite sure what they do. But anyway, so we've none of the three positions. So the leadership in the club is a wee bit up in the air at the moment. No doubt about that. Then you get the story about Dave King coming in. He's out in the media dropping hints that he wants to come back as chairman. No hints, he's telling you he wants to come back as chairman for 2 years and he'll sort this out. And there was stuff that he put in place that has been abandoned. I don't know what that means. I don't know what he's talking about with that one. But again, you're looking at it. Then we hear that, the board have already knocked him back. They've blocked that. That's not happening. Now, if that is the case, well, the board can't just do that without telling the fans what's actually happening. Now, if you're blocking him, I'm not saying don't block him. I'm not saying invite him back. I don't know. But what I do know is you've got an obligation to tell the fans what's actually happening here. We can't just wander about in the dark like this. So as far as I'm concerned, me personally, I think Dave King done a good job for us. But I know a lot of people don't want him back and don't like him for whatever reason. I don't know why. Again, held in the dark. You're only speculating why people don't like him. If the board don't want him on to be the chairman, they need to come out and give us a reason why. And they also need to come out and give us an idea of how we're going forward, and a vision to take us forward. Because I'm telling you right now, me and a lot of Rangers fans like me are sick of coming second to them. We're not doing it anymore. We're not doing, this is not going on indefinitely, mate. I'm at my tipping point right now with this carry on, being second to them. So if we are wanting the board to come out and say, now's the time. John Bennett's now stood down through ill health. We've no chairman, no CEO, no director of football. What we doing? What we doing to fill these positions?
We all got a chairman, haven't we?
Well, a temporary, I stand in John Gilligan, innit? But I don't think John wants to full time, so it's still we've not really got a full time chairman. So I'm looking for the vision. Say what you want about King. He came out there and started giving you some sort of vision of where he wanted to take the club. What he's telling you the goals he wants to achieve, and he's giving you the time scale he wants to do it in. Now I know there's outside investment. Everybody's scared and don't want this to happen, don't want next thing to happen. But I'm telling you right now, there's only two ways you're going to take this club forward, and that's the Champions League money. So you need to win the league, and to win the league, you've got to get investment, and investment's got to come into the club so we get better players, a better squad, and give the manager something to work with. It's the only way we can do it, man. And if we all stand and sit and say we don't want outside investment, we don't want this, I'm not saying sell club or anything like that. I'm just saying outside investment, of substantial investment, mate. It's the only way this club's going to get taken forward, because we're at a non-pass here. We can't get by with this hump, because every time we go out and start doing something, they've got enough money to cover it, and that's what's happening now, mate. That's what happened this transfer window. They just went out and, well, having said that, they had to sell players to spend that money. That's nonsense that they've got an unlimited amount of money. It's garbage, mate. That's just garbage. But they covered it with selling players. So they covered any move that we're making. We're bringing players in. They brought players in. We spent 2 million. They spent 4 or 5 million, 9 million. Just you're sitting going, so they're covering any move. So we need real proper investment to stem this.
How does that get money into your team, mate?
Investment.
Aye, because how do you get it into the club? Because of financial fair play, mate.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that thing, but you can invest, mate.
Aye, but you can't, because it's got to be on your turnover.
I know.
How do you get that investment and that capital into your turnover, mate, so you can spend more money in your team?
I don't know, mate, but it can be done. Other teams are doing it.
Is that no, what Mr. Fox? I mean, I'm going back a couple of years ago. I think Fox on the show when we talked about financial fair play, and we did it, but it wasn't even on my radar. And maybe going back 3 or 4 years, he said, well, getting somebody in doesn't necessarily mean you can get their money into your club, mate. And that's what financial fair play has done, because obviously the bigger leagues have hoovered up all the money and the top teams have hoovered up a bigger percentage, and that gives them the more turnover. And then that gives them the spending capacity, because that's what financial fair play has done.
Oh, but you can get investment in, but the trouble with bringing investment in, they need to have something. You can't just put money in. You need to get like shares or something. You need to get something you're putting investment in. That's what they're talking about, isn't it? It's a sustained investment into your club, not just a big lump cash comes for like the Arabs with Man City and all that. I mean, they could just, Newcastle, and they could just come in there and blow everybody out the water.
Newcastle have got the same problem, haven't they?
They can't sign anybody. But it can be done, mate. I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm only a normal guy like the rest of the supporters. I don't know any more than they know what they know.
So, I mean, as the CEO, I'll come to Bridge quickly, Albert, is the CEO an important position for you, or do you think that if you had a working chairman who is then working with a manager, does that work, or is that fantasy? Do you keep the two separate and then you go back to, you don't really know who the chairman is because the CEO is the guy you see front and centre?
Who's that, to me or Bridge?
Albert, and then we'll go to Bridge.
No, the CEO is important, mate. He's a day-to-day guy. He's got to be there all the time, day-to-day. He's the one that's going to, especially go and not just, but especially go to these SFA and SPFL meetings and hardware and fight our corner, because what's happening at the moment, there's nobody there fighting our corner. And what's happening is, and it's been like this way for a while, mate. You can't have a weak CEO. You've got to have a strong CEO, somebody that knows what they're doing. First and foremost for the club, then secondly, look at the outside interest and influences its impact on our club. So you've got to have a chairman and a CEO, mate. I'd imagine. And one bounces ideas after the other, and one's responsible, and one reports to. You can't just have a free-for-all, mate. This the one guy like the chairman, he does it. Put it this way, we've done this down in the football department. We gave Bill the keys of the club, basically. And look what happened. You can't have it, mate. You've got to have somebody answering to somebody.
Structure, I get it. Right, Bridge, we'll get your take on it, mate, before we get the phone lines opened.
Yeah, I think that the chairman that's there at the moment, although he's only a kind of stand-in chairman, I think it should be more solid for him. And I'd be quite happy with him, with John Gilligan. And we know he's got Rangers at heart. I don't expect John Gilligan to come in and put millions into the club. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think Dave King is going to put millions into the club either, to be perfectly honest with you. But he might, and he's not done anything wrong against Rangers in the past. Dave King, you can blame him for a million things, but one thing he did is he pulled the club together and stopped them getting absolutely raped constantly. So he stopped all that, and he put a board in, and the board did some good things for Rangers and got Rangers back into, shall we say, a more sustainable footing. We're not going to be the richest club in the world for quite a long time, I don't suppose, but I think John Gilligan's come in now. I don't know whether King wants to keep John Gilligan there. I don't know if he's spoken to him or not. For me, at the present moment, I would keep John Gilligan in and let him go and run with it. But we do 100%, we need a CEO. We need a CEO that's going to come in and be as big a bulldog as that guy at Celtic Park. I don't care what it is. We've got to match the level of board and the level of personality. We've got to have that. We can't have the guy who was the managing director. Can't remember his second name, Stuart somewhere. I can't remember now.
Robinson.
Yeah, Stuart Robinson. I mean, he was a nice guy and probably very good at his job, but he actually was like a mouse, compared to what we hear about. So we need somebody that's going to go there and tell them across the city, no, well, you're not doing that. And no, you're not getting in. There's no fans coming into Ibrox. Simple. It's not happening. So let's get negotiating whenever you want, but it's not going to happen. And I think we need somebody with a very, very strong mind that's going to back Rangers and take Rangers all the way. And obviously, he needs help. Whomever that CEO is, he's going to need director of football, and we've got a good manager. So maybe a director of football is maybe all we need at the moment. But at board level, we need a chairman who's up for the job, and I think Gilligan's the man for that. I don't know him. I think Oxford knows him far better than I would ever know him. But I do know him. I've met him a number of times. I think he again was one of the forefront directors, and I think he did a really good job for us. So for me, I'd keep the existing chairman, and I would tell Dave King to keep his powder dry, but stay away from the TV and any interviews with papers. We don't want to know if he's going to do that. We don't want to know him. Finished. And we'll make our way and do what we need to do.
I've not got a dog in the fight, Bridge. I'll always be grateful to Dave King. When it happened in 2015, I think when they came in, Dave King, John Gilligan, and was it Paul Murray? Was that the three?
That's it. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. That was a momentous moment because of every one of them were ridiculous. The people would argue about a similar situation as now, and obviously Dave King's come into the media, and I don't know if it's just him or he's got backing behind him or other plans, because we'll never know. You never know the full story of it. What I will say is, you're right, Bridge. I have known John Gilligan for a long, long time, and what a first-class individual he is. And I'll tell you another thing, John's a tremendous talker, and you might get a statement from him at the right time, but he's also a team player, and obviously being the chairman of the board means, if you like, you're the mouthpiece for the board. They might even vote against things on the board, but you've got to come away with a collective decision over there. That's the downside, isn't it?
That's that. I mean, I've got nothing against the board. See the board members, and I've got nothing against these guys. I fully appreciate that these guys have put their own money into the club. They're Rangers supporters. They've got Rangers at heart. I've nothing at all against them. And I'm a bit like you. I don't want the board against King against the board. I don't see any benefit in that at all, from a Rangers point of view. But what I will say is, if if they're holding King off the board or for the chairmanship, they need to come out with a reason why. They need to come out with and tell us, look, we don't want this because we're doing this or whatever. You can't just leave it hanging like this. Like we've always used to turn up like dafties and don't ask questions, sit there and shut up. No, that's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen if we don't see progress within the club. And I don't mean wee baby steps. We need to do it with the football team at the moment because you're building a team. But as a club, no, we're not playing second fiddle to them anywhere, mate. We're a bigger club than them. We've got bigger support than them. And we can get into morals if you want, but we'll leave that for the moment. But at the end of the day, they'll not hold the crowd. If we are not making progress, mate, and we're not getting there, and they talk about this gap, and people say we need to close the gap. No, we don't. We need temporarily need to close the gap, but we need to overtake them. Well, I'm not interested in closing it. I'm interested in getting in front of them and getting top of the league and staying there, sustain success. I don't want one off for either a wee league or a wee cup now and again. I'm not interested in that, mate. I'm interested in us at home competing in every competition and winning most of the time. That's what I'm interested in, mate. I'm not interested in anything else like that. Europe runs in Europe is one thing. But that'll all be coming to an end once the players' union gets a grip with that. There's too many games, as we mentioned today. I heard been saying it for long enough. That's another thing. It's a side issue. But at the end of the day, you've got to say to yourself, no, I'm not. The Rangers support are not going to wear it much longer because we're sick of it. Absolute sick to the back teeth of this nonsense. We get kicked about, and we've no voice anywhere in Scottish football that I can see, any concernable voice in any part of football. So we need to actually get it together. But the board need to come out and tell us what's happening. Now, at the moment, I don't know if that's true. They've blocked King's done, but King's out in the media. Why is he coming out in the media? The question's already been asked out there. Why is he coming out in the media? Why does he have to come out in the media? If this was all going to happen, it normally just all happens behind closed doors and bang, you wake up one morning and you get an announcement. Rangers now announcing Dave King is the chairman of Rangers. So I don't understand what's going on. There's something going on, mate. Was it a battle of egos? I don't know. But whatever it is, they're damaging Rangers. They're damaging the Rangers support. And we're not going to put up with it. And also, they need to realise this.
You've also got to throw in, you've got the mischievous press. Maybe even if there is general debate or somebody wants to come in or get involved, which is your right. I mean, Dave King's a substantial shareholder. I think he got about 15%. I think I've not checked 14, that out. I'm saying that off the top of my head.
14.
How much?
14%.
Are you going to phone me 1%? Yeah.
It might be £1 million one day.
He's got a right to ask questions because where he sits. But if he goes and then has to speak to the board, if the other people sit the other side of the table control 60% of the shares, he's going to get beat, isn't he?
Well, he's going to get outvoted, mate. That's right. That's boardroom stuff. That's fine. I have no problem with that at all, mate. Nothing at all. They'll do what they do, but bear in mind they all need to do it for the benefit of Rangers. They're there for the benefit of Rangers.
No for Eagles.
No for Eagles, mate. And I'm not interested in what they're infighting is and who likes who doesn't like who. I'm not interested in any of that nonsense. That's up to them to sort out personally. What I'm interested in, if you're not letting King do what he said he's going to do, now he's out. He's put his cards on the table now, right or wrongly, the way he's done it. That's another argument. But he's put his cards on the table. They need to now tell me, right, we're not taking that. We're going to do this. That's fine. If you're saying that's the right thing for Rangers, you're in charge. I'm fine. I'll go with you. But I'm not going to sit here and not hear anything. I'm not going to let this rattle on and rumble on for the press to all have a field day with and come out with the lies and crap that they're going to kick us with. Again, I want to get to the bottom of it. I want Rangers to be their plan. I want to see their vision, and I want Rangers to progress. Now, big giant steps, need baby steps now. Now's the time to push on. Now's the time to get the club in the right position. No another 5 years or another 10 years, mate. Now's the time.
Right. We've reached that time of the evening. We'll have a tune and then we'll come back to it. So get yourself from here. We'll have a tune.
Rangers fans deserve the best from the boys in royal blue. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. The story, it was dismal, full of gloom. Now we're building an extension for the Ibrox trophy room. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. In Europe we'll be travelling by land and sea and plane. The teddy bears have got the bears and we're on the march again. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball. The Glasgow Rangers football team's the greatest team of all. Yes, it's true, the boys in blue are just magic on the ball.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
You're right with that tune, Albert?
No, I was greeting there. Aye, it's all right. I was singing away to that one. That's fine. Any day
Yeah.
with the Rangers.
Right, okay. You back with us? You all right there? Aye, listen, mate. Well, I know that Dave King's come out and made some statements in the press, and well, he's entitled to do that, Albert, isn't he? Yeah?
Man, the man can do what he wants to do, you know? I mean, it's up to
he's entitled
himself.
to do that, yeah.
Yep.
And how it ends up and how it pans out is if he's got then people, remember what he said with him, once you get to 25%, boardroom politics become different, and you never know how it's going to pan out. Then you can have a takeover, you could have a hostile takeover or an agreed takeover, you never know. Boardroom stuff is, I don't know. It's unique, innit? It doesn't always seem straight to us, the men in the street, if you like, Albert.
What I would expect, man, I mean, I've been to tons of meetings, you've been to tons of meetings, you know how it goes, but I would expect the board to call a board meeting and I'll get around the table with the shareholders and sit around there and say, right, here we are, there we are, this is the state of play, blah, 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 this is what we need to do, this is what we're thinking, this is what we're not thinking, MD any ideas, blah, blah. It's not rocket science, mate. King needs to get invited into that as well. Of course he does. He's the largest shareholder in the club. So you sit and say, right, okay, and if he's got a proposal, you've got to listen to it. You've got to listen to it. I mean, you've got to sit and say, look, we need to do the best for Rangers. I don't want to hear somebody sitting there going, I know, it's a brilliant idea, but I'm not voting for it because I don't like him. I'm not interested in that nonsense, mate. They're going to be beyond that nonsense. And I'm only speculating. I don't know if that's what's going on. But I certainly know they only get around a table and sit down and say, right, what we're all saying, who's wanting what we want here, what's the best for Rangers. I don't hear anybody talking what's the best for Rangers. I just hear them all talking about, blocking this, we don't want this, we don't want him, we don't want investment, we don't want the next thing. It's all right saying all that, mate, but you've got to have a vision then. You've got to have an idea of where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think we'll be joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf. That was the quickest call ever.
Can I come in on that point?
Yeah, of course you can, Bridgman.
You know, it's about having a meeting with King and company. There will be a shareholders' annual general meeting, and that will be coming up within the next 2 months.
Yeah,
They might bring it forward. They might have a cut down version, but there's certainly one due. and there might be an
December
emergency
usually.
one.
First week
Sorry?
in December, usually, isn't it?
Say that again, Oxia.
First week in December, usually the accounts come
Yeah,
out.
it's around about that time, end of November, beginning of December. I think that the last one they held was a bit of a flop because they held it in the what do you get, the Edmondson Club.
Edmondson House.
It wasn't Edmondson House, sorry. It wasn't big enough. So maybe they'll do something with Ibrox, with parts of Ibrox, or a part of Ibrox, whatever. Because I think they used to have it in Armadillo, and it was well attended. But you can just imagine how expensive it was. So yeah, I'd like to see it at Ibrox, and some part of Ibrox, even Edmondson House.
Where does it hold? Where do we hold, mate? I don't know how many shareholders we've got. They all get an invite. Yeah.
It's well attended. There's a few thousand turn up.
So you've got to be able to accommodate people on the.
Absolutely, 100%. They can't do what they did last year. They can't do it.
Edmondson House isn't big enough, mate. It can't
saying-
be there.
Well, they could use. What's the name of the new restaurant up the top?
Never fit all the people in there, mate.
You won't.
No, with the set up there.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they've got anywhere at Ibrox that would hold them. So in that case, then they go back to what do you call it, the Armadillo. I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know if there's any hotels at Ibrox or close to Ibrox that would be able to hold a meeting in. But maybe I'll shut down there.
You just have to get a suitable venue over there. That's the starter for 10, isn't it?
100%.
Aye, definitely, mate. I mean, I don't know, what's I've never been into hockey now, but there's nothing in there they can put them in now. But anyway, see again back to the board meeting. Put it this way, see when John Bennett was going to step down, was a board meeting called, and did they say at the board meeting, did they let them know at the board meeting that he was stepping down through ill health? Right. I mean, these are standard practice in any other business, mate. These are standard. There's nothing new in this. But the way we find out is somebody tells somebody else, and then somebody will leak it. I mean, I want to know, was there a board meeting called? And if there wasn't a board meeting called, why was there not a board meeting called? Actually, who's in charge here? Where are these board members? What are they actually doing? Let's get together here and sit down and run the business properly. But as far as I can see, it's just a collection of individuals, decent people, good Rangers men and women, I suppose. Are there any women members on the board? That's a good point. That one.
No.
But,
No.
well, men then, all decent people, but it's a business at the end of the day, mate, and they need to run it properly. And as far as I'm concerned, if they say it's been said before, if you don't fill the void, that mob out there will fill the void with absolute nonsense and tell us all crap. So no, I want a board meeting. I want them to call a board meeting and come up with ideas. Tell us what's happening. Just tell us what's happening.
Yeah.
But do you think then? You think that there should be a board meeting? Let's say this week sometime. You think there should be a board meeting called?
There should have been a board meeting when John Bennett stood down.
Well, with the greatest respect, we don't know what happened when Bennett stood down. We don't know if there wasn't. So maybe there was a board meeting. We don't know.
That's the point I'm making, Bridge. That's the
point.
I know,
but I know. I'm just saying we just don't know.
We never get told. We never get told anything, mate. It's not right. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm away after Mark. I don't know.
No, I was just going to say, as far as I'm concerned, I agree that there should be a board meeting. Given the furore that's going on now, and the mere fact that Dave King has turned up, I don't even know if he's here in person or whether it's just in one of these Zoom conferences.
Just remember, you don't have to be in the same room to have a board meeting.
Correct, pal. I understand. That's what I mean. And I don't know if Dave King is here, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was written up. You know.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, we get board people all over the world, didn't we? You know, and they've all got sizable chunks in the club, you know. But listen, I'm assuming that they'll got together when John announced it quickly, just maybe a one-item agenda, yeah? Mm-hmm. And they've had a plan, and then they'll reconsider maybe this week to set out the vision, and obviously the accounts will be due soon, and they'll have to be going through that as well. Normal business stuff, but they'll also have to look at the word that you use as vision, talking about vision, hopefully Smurf's ways. How we doing, Smurf?
I'm good, Ox. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all well.
Aye.
I'm just a wee bit perplexed. I was sort of excited and really sort of despondent in equal measure when Dave King came out and made his statement. You know, you're thinking, well, there's somebody here who wants to do something, and then I sort of listened to it back, then I listened to it back again, and then he's on Talk Sport, and a part of me just sort of, it just sounds a bit like, you know, he maybe he wants to push through a sale of the club, and that brings its own anxieties. So I don't think he's disingenuous, but
when you say a sale to the club, do you mean to his investors or to anybody?
No, it would be so. I get what you're saying. His investors, he'll have done due diligence, etc., etc. But once people have parted with their cash, they have very little control over it. Then he's talking about investor fatigue. He's talking about you know, maybe some guys want their money back out. I don't know. And you can't hold that against them. You know, at the end of the day. So I just worry about it because what's the blueprint going to be going forward? If you've got a new investor coming in, you can't just say, here's a 50 million for the team or whatever, because you're not allowed to spend it. What's the blueprint going to be? What's the plan? Does it involve a complete removal of the board and the implementation of a new board, in which case why we're going through this rigmarole of getting all these people for these top offices. Well, I know why we're doing it, but you know, if they're only going to be needing to be paid off in short order, is our manager going to be moved? I'm sort of buoyed. I know we've got young players here, and I'm liking the look of a lot of them. And I'm thinking maybe this is the blueprint. Maybe this is the only way forward, because you can't monetize a football team anymore. You're not allowed to with the FFP. So we need to do something, but sugar daddies aren't a thing anymore. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about it, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same.
Albert, you're a man in the street, yeah, and I'll let you comment on Smurf stuff. Then I've got a question for you. When you come with Smurf's thoughts.
I agree with Smurf. It is concerning. There's no doubt about that, mate. It's concerning because we all don't know what we're talking about. That's the big thing, mate. You don't know what you're talking about because there's no information. Nobody ever gives us any information about where we are, what we're going, what's the plans. So if it's right that we can't put, and it is right that we can't put money into the club, a big cash deposit into the club because of I kept thinking FTP, it's FFP. So I know we're not allowed to do that. So if we're not allowed to do that, Smurf might be right. The youth system or the way we're going about our signing policy might be the way forward. We might have said that's the only way forward now for us. And if that is the case, that is really concerning, mate, because that should have been in place a long time ago. A long time ago, mate. Because at the end of the day, we've got 12 years to sort this out. And we've not sorted it out because we've been concentrating on everything but football, it seems to me. And now we're into a state going, well, we just saved the club and that seems to be enough. Well, it's not enough. We need to bring the club back and we need to get, and we're in an unfair world now, especially the football world, because all the people who put the investment in before FFP are still raking the benefits of putting large amounts of cash into their clubs and spending money they never had. But we're now not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to catch up. Even if you got the money, you're not allowed to catch up. So it seems to be a new order's coming in, and a lot of people put the jockeying for position to be part of that new order. And I think this new Champions League and UEFA Cup rigmarole at the moment is the first step towards it. I'm with Smurf. I'm concerned, mate. I really am concerned.
Could this be a measure?
What are you concerned about?
What we're going to do for the future, mate? How we're going to grow the club? How we're going to get get us back on
All right, okay.
a level playing field, mate.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, I'm
it's-
afraid that we've known for the last couple of years now that they've got financial fair play in, and we knew it was coming in. So we can't say we didn't know. It was there. It's right in front of us. When we talk about, we've just invested a lot of money in the Edmiston House, and we're investing money into the stadium. That might be the way forward. You know,
To
keep
try and get
going
the
the way we're going with the buying the players the way we are at the moment.
The problem is, Bridge, that if you want to criticise, and this is taking your supporters hat off, some of the boardroom decisions that maybe been made, and we maybe kept players and we've maybe not punted them. There's a criticism there, but these decisions are wrong in hindsight, Smurf, if that makes sense, and therefore it's football and business colliding.
I guess you're right. I mean, I think there's a number of factors there when you talk about players, and we should have sold them at any given point for the good and benefit of the club. However, for a start, we're talking about players who were ripe for selling on 2 years ago when this sort of remodeled FFP model came in. So you've got to react to that model. You've got to have the players that are going to turn the coin that you need. But the players themselves, they know that if they hang on for a year or whatever, they're going to go away and get a bigger deal. Because everybody's under the constraints of financial fair play. So if you've got a club that turns over 100 million a year and you're allowed to spend up to 70 million of it on your football operation, you're not going to spend the 70 million because that wouldn't be prudent. You're going to spend somewhere between 50 and 60 because if you're next year, if it takes a dip, remember it's over 3 years as well. It's measured over 3 years. So next year, if it takes a dip, you've got to maybe absorb that. So you maybe want to be spending somewhere between 50 and 60% of your top line on your football operation. So you don't want to be spending any of that sum of money on transfer fees. You don't want to be. You want to be getting the highest quality. The best model is getting players in for free.
Aye.
Of the right quality.
Mr. Fox predicted 5 years ago, the way it was going with agents, that transfer fees could be a thing of the past because the players are wanting wages. Yeah.
Of course, it's going to. It just makes sense. I'm not a business guy. I'm just an ordinary fella, and I can sort of see that a rudimentary base level. Well, obviously these players and their agents, they're wide to it, So these guys are going to hang on and go for nothing. So it's a quandary, and anybody coming in. My point is really that anybody coming in, if they're going to pay, say, £150 million for the club, well, obviously the directors that are there that have got X amount of shares, they're going to have to sell them shares. And that money's going to existing directors. If any money's going to be invested into the club, where can it go? It can only get into infrastructure. It can only get into, which is a good thing, the physical footprint around Ibrox. Maybe I don't know, invest in hotels and increasing the capacity and all that stuff. But ultimately, it's I think it's
sustainable
still
revenue, mate. Isn't it?
Aye, it's a slow burner. You're exactly right. It is. It's sustainability and solvency. And it's a slow burner no matter what we do. What I'm saying is when we're picking up your Igamanis and Jefties and that, these guys are giving me a warm fuzzy feeling that there are players out there at the correct price point with the right ability, and they're hungry and available. Age, and available. So when I look at our youth setup, I think, and I'm not an expert in this at all, but I think up to the age of 16 years old, before when they're ready to sign professional contracts, I'd keep all that in place, and I would only be taking the top 5%, the cream of the crop, to bring through. because the money we've been spending on that is fortunes. I read somewhere, or I heard somewhere, that we've spent 30 million in 10 years. You know, I don't want to invest in that. I want to take that 30 million and go and get more Igamanis and more Jefties. Because
I
the
think,
people,
I think
you know
there's
what I mean?
also, and again,
Yeah.
I've not checked this out, Smurf, but please, you need some of the things that you need to play in Europe. You need certain criteria in your club.
That's right. Aye.
Yeah, but
Aye.
listen, what I will agree with you is I think there needs to be a root and branch look at the structure of the whole club. We seem to have went back to pre-2018. The boys that are coming in, well, they're all nice players and they've all got ability, because they wouldn't be there if they didn't. But they don't look ready for the Rangers first team, which is so frustrating, mate. Yeah, just physically, Albert. Yeah, and they're on decent contracts, and what's happened? Somebody needs to look at that, the bridge that they're crossing, because they're not doing them any favours for the Rangers career or the football careers.
Aye, I mean, I've said it long enough without that Auchenhow, you know what I mean? The so-called youth academy, it's not, I can tell you, it's a youth club. Anyway, their physicality is ridiculous. That's one of their abilities, no in question. I'm not saying these are bad players, these boys. I'm not saying they're bad people or anything like that. But their physicality is a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. They're not ready for the first team, and that's down to, as far as I'm concerned, that's down to the coaches and the conditioning staff. That's right down to them. If they're getting them programs to bring them on and make them physically stronger, and they're no fooling it, that's down to the player. They should be doing something about that. But if they're just no bothering bringing these boys onto the physical level required to play professional football, well, that's down to them, and they should be held accountable for that. The trouble is, it doesn't seem anybody's held accountable for anything at these levels. To my mind, we're sort of, if we put the Rangers academy or our academy up against any other academy, we'd beat them hands down in domestic science. All our players are domestically science. Brilliant, mate. World champions at domestic science. Victoria Sponge and Spagball and all that, carry on and cleaning your room. That's what we do, mate. We make them in. We do the parent, but all that stuff's parent stuff. We're trying to make these boys ready for professional football player. To be a professional football player, that's where they're going to earn their money. That's where they're going to earn a lot of money if they do it right, and they're not ready. And that's frustrating, mate. It really is frustrating. You know, anybody that doesn't believe it, go and see the B team and you'll see what we're talking about. These boys are not physically ready, mate. Just simply not. And it's wrong. It's totally wrong.
Because they're professional football players, mate.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
something that needs to be fixed. It needs somebody at a root and branch, and it needs to be guided for boardroom level done, yeah. So the criticism there is who's doing what, and you question all these things when the first team's not winning. Yeah, because I think it's Southside that sometimes on the show says, look, nobody bothers about all these things if you're winning. But you look at it more closely when you're losing, but there is something no right there. So that needs to be looked at. But then getting back to where we were about potential takeovers, a simple question to ask the three of you. Simple. Because you know me, I'm a simple man, yeah? Right. Albert, could this just be a measuring competition and it's getting played out in the media?
It could be, mate. It could. Again, we're kept in the dark. We wouldn't know. It's but it could be, mate. It could be. At the end of the day, we'll find out one way or another when it's all too late and things are all signed off. That's when we find out. And then it's just I hope you're happy with this because this is what you've got. That's
what you always find out at board level of any business, isn't it?
Aye, exactly, mate.
If you're honest. Smurf, could that be potential what it is? I mean,
maybe it is. I mean, I sort of have 2 points. One about that one on that sort of vein is I think when Dave King's came out, there was a £150 million claim but potential buyout a few weeks back, and then it was came out and it was debunked by Dave King. Now he's come out and said there was truth in it, and it's the parks that are the problem, and all the ills of Ibrox and all the ills of Rangers are down to the parks. I don't like that. I get that when you're dealing with a business, you're not going to play out what's going on at Boardroom and takeovers and mergers and all that stuff that I know nothing about. It's certainly not going to be played out in the media. However,
Or shouldn't it be?
it shouldn't be. And so he was correct to deny it. But to come out weeks later and then say there's actually truth in it, and we need the investment, knowing all about the FFP and all that, and et cetera, et cetera. It sounds to me that maybe he's the guy that wants his money out, and the parks are getting in the way of that. I don't know anything that's going on in Ibrox, nothing. So I don't know who are the good guys or who are the bad guys, or if any bogeymen even exist. But it does. I get what you're saying. Is it a temperature test? Are they trying to gauge the fan base's sort of appetite? And it could be, but I don't think our club's in a place where that's that would be, you could deem it to be accurate, because people don't know what's going on, so they don't really know what their opinions are.
The fans will get angry at the board if we don't want football matches.
Well, they will. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we get out the traps and we get a player or two in, and then there's a lull, and we can't get players in till we get players out. Igamani gets signed. Who's this Wayne from Morocco? Everybody's going. Now we're all sort of saying, oh, here, we've got a player here. And Clement comes out the other day and says, if we didn't sign him this year, we wouldn't go to him next year because we wouldn't have afforded him. So maybe if it's Clement and Niels Coppin, between them and whoever their contacts are, that are identifying the Jefties and the Igamanis, maybe it's about time, as a support, we need to be a little bit, given what's happening at Boardroom, and it's got nothing to do, these guys are just employees, right? Maybe we should be a wee bit more supportive of them, because there's no many managers and recruitment guys dealing or working in a club the size of Rangers in that kind of environment. If these guys just says, look, we're off, you couldn't blame them. But they're there and they are unearthing sort of little nuggets and gems.
A lot of stuff in there. We'll try and stick to the Boardroom, because you're right about the manager and Niels Coppin. They've got a job to do, a different kind of job under constraints. And you would think that we knew most of the deal when they came in the door, but then we don't know. Bridgeman.
I think if we're talking about King and Company at the moment, I think it's far too early to be talking about £150 million investment. We've been there with King.
I don't think that's investment, Bridge. That's the value, and that's buying the shares, mate.
So he's just going to buy the club?
No, that's the point that Smurf was making. That was muted a few weeks ago and debunked, was I think the word that Smurf used, and then it's come up, and that would be, let's say the club was valued at that, because of the share price. Well, let's say you would have to make an offer to all the shareholders.
That's correct. If he wants to come in and buy it.
I think you're about the 19th biggest shareholder in the club. Right.
I've got a few shares, let's put it out.
Yes, I think all from the call I've got a few shares, but what I'm saying is that, well, I don't know about Smurf, but you would have to make an offer, and obviously if it was all accepted and then it becomes a hostile takeover, or it just becomes a takeover, slightly two different things, then people get their money back for their shares, they're valued at the time, and the guys who have got the most shares would get the most money back. That's up to them, but they were at cash. Is that the point you're making, Smurf?
It is, aye. And then another thing, I'm going to shut up because he went away.
And you come, Bridge.
It's just look. The story. There's a story going around with regarding Dave King. I'm not the biggest fan of the Daily Record, and I have to say that in all honesty. I absolutely detest the group, and I don't know why a potential chairman Dave King, is going to the Daily Record again, because that's his first going to talk about Rangers. A lot of Rangers fans don't read the Daily Record. They're not interested in the Daily Record. So a lot of them feel the same as me. But these stories they grow legs, and all of a sudden they find out, wait a minute, there's a story going on here, and where did it start? Well, the source was the Daily Record. No, I'm sorry. Rangers shouldn't be even talking to the Daily Record at all, or any story that emanates from them. Not at all. If Dave King wants to come in, man, it was Albert said it earlier on. If Dave King wants to come in and do something, come in and talk to the board. Organise a meeting, want to meet with them and talk to them. Don't do it through the papers.
I think that's the point that Smurf was also making. If there's a disagreement, and it looked like that when you go back a few years, it looked as if, for the outside looking in, Albert, it always looked as if there was a fallout between two parties, didn't there?
Aye, that was the rumour, wasn't it? That was the thing in the park, so they were arguing and God knows what. But I'm with Smurf. It's one of these situations that we could talk and talk the rank stuff because you don't know enough information about what's actually happening. Is there a bogeyman, as he says, as Smurf just said? Is there a bogeyman, or we just think there's a bogeyman? Fear case there's a bogeyman there. And if we're thinking that way, you know what's going to happen. That mainstream media are just going to get a hold of it and run with it that way because they just enjoy doing it that way. Is that a wee question? I know it's a wee side to it. Is that Chris Jack? Does he work for the Daily Record?
I thought he worked for the Herald.
Was it the Herald, mate? Because I know there was that Rangers review were saying that the King was talking to him, so the story broke through him, and then there's Bridge saying it was the Daily Record that broke it.
No, I'm going with what I heard.
Oh, right.
Tonight is the first I've heard of it, Dave King.
Right.
So, where have you been, Mars?
No, I don't read the Daily Record. I'm not interested in the Daily Record at all.
Are you reading the record, Bridge? You can tell us.
Aye. You know, there's certain things.
Confession's good, mate.
I cannot understand what's going on.
The only way he reads the record is he gets it with Gennaro's and his chips in it.
Yeah. So getting back to the point, we don't know, mate. It's just as simple as that. Is that a good thing? One of the things I would say, if it's a takeover, if it's a sellout, what benefit is this for Rangers? How's this benefiting Rangers? Tell me that. Is it just shareholders that are getting money? Is that all it is then? Because if we sell out, Smurf, for last year, if we sell out, Smurf, can we get investment in through that way?
Well, I think so. If you get the majority of this, I don't know a lot about trading shares or anything like that, but I know that if you accumulate a certain number of shares, say it's 30% or 40%, but I don't know the number, you're obliged to make an offer to the rest of the shareholders. They're not obliged to accept. But if there's a hostile takeover and it, somebody comes in and buys the thing lock, stock and barrel, they've got to have a business plan. They can't monetize the team. So all it can be is looking at a latent support and trying to see how they can grow the club in terms of, the stadium, etc., and then that lifts the top line, and then that's how you monetize the team. So it's all kicking the can down the road.
That's not going to happen in 6 months, is it?
No, exactly. That's my point. That's a long term. So can the board that's in situ or the investors in situ, can they not just realise that themselves? And
there's guys on our board who get on paper get more. I don't know they're loose change money, but they're worth more on paper than Dave King, isn't they? We still can't get money into the team because let's be honest, that's who as supporters, that's what we're looking for to happen. But we're also looking for to sort out some of the infrastructure, the football side of the club, Albert, because something needs fixed. and that needs to be done for Boardroom, because not only is it not working, but just wasting money, and people aren't doing their job properly. I'm all for people staying in jobs. However, you've got to do it properly, Albert.
Exactly, mate. Who's been held accountable for some of these positions and some of the mistakes that's getting made? Right, nobody, because nobody seems to be in charge. But you've got to have some sort of structure in there, mate. It's a fact, and we've not got it. As simple as that, we've not got it. So what is the board doing about it? That's what I want to know. Who is doing what? Who's calling the shots? Who's actually got the ideas to take us forward? Do we need a chairman? Do we need a CEO? Do we need a director of football? At one point, everybody was jumping up and down about the director of football, saying, "Oh, we need one. We need one." I don't quite know what a director of football does. Know what I mean? So I don't know if he's essential or no essential. But your chairman and your CEO are essential, mate, for running an organisation. You've got to have somebody in charge. Somebody's got to guide the ship. And that's what I think that's what's happening with the Rangers slightly at the moment. We're a wee bit rudderless. It's we need somebody, a strong CEO, to do the day-to-day stuff. And as I said before,
I'm going to ask you a question. I think the boy Bisgrove came in and done a decent job on the financials. He exploited everything that he could at a time where trading was difficult because of COVID. He done a reasonable job, but he never looked like a CEO, did he?
No.
Do you think it's, if we're honest, do we need somebody who is Scottish, who maybe understands the uniqueness of our club to be in that position? Because then that's his roots, his home, and he's not going to get tempted away. Let's always be honest. If we were honest about it, we always knew that Bisgrove was going to disappear. Smurf.
Aye, he's he doesn't have the emotional attachment to the club, and he's a young guy starting out in his career, and it's on a certain trajectory, and he's going to go to a bigger thing or a bigger market or whatever. Aye, I think I said it.
On a bigger wage.
On a bigger wage. I think I said it maybe a month or so ago on Rangers Radio that I'd like to see a Campbell Ogilvie. I nearly said Campbell Money there. I don't know where that came from. A Campbell Ogilvie type figure coming in and steadying the ship. I think that's what we need. And the title doesn't matter, CEO, whatever that title would be. We need a guy of that calibre to come in and really just take control of the club.
I think Campbell was only ever called the club secretary from memory.
He was, aye.
Aye. Yeah, I get your point, but is that important to you, Albert? Was that how you maybe seen the Bisgrove? Because that's always looked like that to me. He'd been with FIFA. We headhunt him. Yeah, he's an ambitious young lad, so you've not got any continuity there. And he never looked like a CEO.
No, he's not a CEO, mate. That's a given. He never did look like a CEO. I think that he's more disappointed. I think his idea was to come out to Rangers and make a huge splash in world football, to take a situation that looked impossible and do something with it. And I'm like you, I think he did a decent job, but I don't think he done the job that he really wanted to do and took us as far as he wanted to take us. And then the big money came in for Saudi Arabia, was it Saudi Arabia, whatever it was anyways, where the big money is, and he's off. And I don't blame him for that. No, I mean, he's away looking after himself. Well, on a football point of view, I think he wanted to make a bigger splash than he did. But putting him in the sea, again, that was John Bennett just promoting him into the CEO position, saying to yourself, well, he's done well in his commercial side, so let's see what he can do as a CEO. But he wasn't a CEO. As for who, a Scottish CEO or whatever it is, I just want a competent, somebody that's good at their job, somebody who knows what they're doing. I don't want any shrinking violets in that job. You've got to be a strong character, I imagine, to do that job.
Bridgman, any thoughts?
I think we're talking again about Bisgrove. I think Bisgrove got off his mark at a convenient time. Within 2 weeks of him going, the plans about the shall we say, the changes to the stadium all came out, and they were going to be late and so on and so forth. I think he knew that was happening in the first place, and I liked him. I liked Bisgrove, but I think there was something no right about his departure, and I think he left the big mess is still there yet. We're not back in the stadium yet, and I blame that. All of that blame lies at Bisgrove's door for me, and I think the chairman has just stood down. Bennett, he's taken all the flack. Maybe rightly because he was the chairman, but I just think it's wrong, and I think that Rangers as a club need to stand up and be counted now. But they're looking for. If they're looking for, you can go to the shareholders and ask them for money, and have a share. We can have a share.
Yeah, but
share issue.
That's not the issue, Bridge. That doesn't get money into your turnover.
No. It gets you more money into the club, and you can use that for infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need. We need infrastructure as well.
Ox, can I come in?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about the point you first made it since you made that point and asked the question. I think really there's a lot of what Bridge has just said there. That lad's seen an opportunity to basically, coin a phrase, shoot the craw. And I think John Bennett has shown. I mean, he's got such an emotional attachment to the club that he's worked so hard trying to keep the wheels from coming off. The man's made himself ill, quite possibly. You don't know what's wrong with him. And I think really the shareholders that count, the Rangers men that are in there, the Parks, Dave King himself, and then you've got other guys that have come in. You've got Stuart Gibson, etc. What they are, or in danger of being perceived as a co-op of absentee landlords. And the executive that were there probably weren't being managed properly. And there were probably a lot of people there that are substandard, shouldn't be at the club. And if we had a proper CEO in and a chairman who's maybe somebody like John Bennett, who's retired, put his money into the club and is just an overseer, just casting his eye over something that's running, mechanically sound and just purring over, rather than fighting fires. I think that would be a different dynamic. I don't think half of these charlatans that are managing the club would be there. So I think as a collective, as a co-opted sort of set of investors, I think really they need to take a look at themselves. And they might have put money in the past, but you would think that they would be they would want to make sure that investment was sound and they'd be keeping an eye on things, because how they can stand back and just let this unfold and unravel over the last 3 or 4 years is just, it's mind-boggling. Blows my mind. And I do think as a collective, or I feel that there's a collective responsibility amongst them all for what's happened.
I don't want to pick on individuals, but if your manager that you've gave the free role tells you that Sam Lammers is going to improve your team and he's going to cost you X amount and they support him, these are the decisions that are made, because one of the things as you look at it, all the managers have been backed all bit. Yeah, rightly or wrongly, and we've ended up with wages sitting in the stand and paying big wages to people that gave us very little. And I don't know how you separate the guy in the board who's giving that money to the manager, and then when it's Pete Tong, the manager's back saying, well, I need another midfielder because that last one didn't work out. It's very difficult because it's a unique business, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is, because signings don't work out all the time. No, all signings, that's what she said. No, all signings don't work out. We all know that. So when you've got a limited budget, the necessity to get it right increases tenfold, and that's the situation we're in. But the fact that every manager got back to a certain degree, I mean, I know a lot of people think we'll never get a lot of money, but they still got backed. Even Clement's getting back. There's no doubt about that, mate. It's a question of what you do with that money. It's must said, it's the youth thing might be the way forward, but I don't know. John Bennett, to me, done a decent job. I think it's wrong that the way they're picking on him at times. And I think Bridge is right when he says that your man, what do you call him, Bisgrove, shot the craw. Definitely. Thinking about it, I know. Aye, he definitely did, mate. He definitely did. He knew this. He knew this was coming, and he's just left. He's just left John Bennett holding the baby. You know what I mean? Basically, he's took no criticism over this, and it's John Bennett and the rest of the board members that have taken the criticism. For doing a good thing, by the way, you know what I mean? Let's be honest about it. Doing what they were doing was a good thing, and it just blew up in their faces because mismanagement of certain, the planning it for a start, and hindsight's a great thing, and they should have done this, should have that. But there's certain common sense stuff they should have been doing prior to the preparation work that started. But John Bennett got left holding the baby, basically. It's like musical chairs. Make sure you've got a chair in it. I don't like when he's getting all this criticism. It's not right, mate. It's just, as I don't like on the board getting it, because they're all Rangers men, they've all put their money in, but they need to look at themselves and say, me being here, doing what I'm doing and my input, am I helping the club? Am I actually going to drive the club on? Am I doing the right thing for the club? King needs to ask himself the same thing. Is he getting a hidden agenda? Is he his own agenda? Is he just trying? Big AK, he texts me saying he's just wanting to sell his shares. He's just trying to get out. He's trying to get rid of his shares. Been trying for 4 years. That's a fact. That's not a lie. That is a fact. But at the end of the day, is that his motive? Somebody needs to ask him direct to his face. Is that your motive? Is that your motive to just try and sell your shares, try to get out as quick as possible? Or tell me your plan. Oh, I'm staying here for 2 years, the chairman. Right, okay, you're going to tie in and you're going to prove to us that, okay, I'll stay for 2 years and sort the club out. You said the background stuff, but you're going to stay for a further 5 years, keep your shares invested for a further 5 years. Commit yourself. Let's see. Just don't talk the talk. Let's see you walk the walk. I want to make sure the club is going to remain, as Smurf just said, in good hands. We don't want to just say, oh, just sell it, do this, do that, do the next thing. We want the right thing for the club, but we all know where we want to get to. We want success, mate.
I've not got a dog in the fight with, but I don't support King or Parker. Yeah, however, I can see sometimes that there's decisions made at the time with certain people, and you think in hindsight, sometimes you think maybe that was wrong, yeah. But what I will say, my only loyalty in the whole conversation is to Rangers Football Club. Yeah, I don't want to be doing a side route or you support this year or that year. There'll become a time where maybe you might get, I'm trying to pick my words wisely here, you might prefer one to the other. Yeah. I don't know if we're at that stage yet, and it might be a third party that none of us even know about, and that's the problem. We've been here before, and we want to make sure we don't go down the wrong road. Bridgeman. Oh, Smurf.
Aye, I get what you're saying. There could be something lingering in the background. You know, Dave King wanting to come in, and tap the place up, as it were, ready to sell so he can get his dough out. Because that, to me, that's what it sounds like. You know, I think, going back to your earlier point as well about the, you know, managers, you know, Beale being handed a checkbook, go and sign guys who you feel are right, without any due diligence, without anybody in an office who's holding to account. There was no checks and balances of that. That in itself was evidence of mismanagement, and every single major shareholder was guilty there. You know,
another question. This is a criticism of the board. I'm going to keep it simple, but in football terms, what right did Michael Beale have to get the Rangers job with 28 games at Queen's Park Rangers, and was there a success? What did he do to justify getting our job?
I think you know, he'd have been lucky if he got the assistant manager's job. He'd think himself very, very lucky. He had absolutely no business being at that club as a manager, and it shows you how far the ethics of our club had fallen when that man was sat in the Loudon while Gio was still in the post. I mean, that's still, and that's another reason that I'm really critical of the board. That was disgusting. That's not how Rangers conduct themselves. That was.
I don't like to do that, but just with your football and the experience, what
He's
has he
got
done?
absolutely no business being at the club, let alone being handed a chequebook to go and have carte blanche to go and see sign who he wanted without any checks or balances.
And all
And
that,
you've proven that as well, haven't you?
and all
It's been
that,
proven.
all that all there is about the any criticism the board collectively are due some criticism because it shouldn't have happened. He didn't have the experience. Same as the Conchino one. Yeah, should never have happened, mate. Never have happened.
It's blind panic. The one with Beale was blind panic to the board. That's a given. That's a lack of knowledge, football knowledge, what Soonest said. That's how that was, mate. They didn't know where they were going and what they were going to be doing. There's just total and utter blind panic, and it just went, oh, and he came in second-hand card salesman, somebody says, and they talk, and they all went, oh, he'll do. That'll appease the fans. He'll do. And no knowing that their lack of knowledge from a football point of view just showed up there because they didn't see the long term. They didn't see the fact that this might blow up in the club's face, and namely our face, which it did. But it just shows you that they've got no football knowledge on that board, none whatsoever. And we're still at this point right now. It needs to be right. So, yeah.
I think, can I come in on that?
Assistant manager at best.
Sorry.
No,
I was just going to say that at the present moment, our chairman is John Gilligan. John Gilligan's a bear all the way through, forever and ever and ever. He's always been.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, he's got the job at the moment.
By the way, just for the record, they like Ibrox Ronia, yeah. And by the way, the other thing was 80% the poll for hit 20%.
Yeah, see.
All your votes didn't work for you, but carry on, Bridge.
No, as far as I'm concerned, Rangers are my club and my club only, and I don't care about any other football supporter. That's my club, and I see my club in a wee bit of distress at the moment, and we need someone that will be able to cuddle it and take it forward in the correct manner. I don't want boardroom shenanigans going on. I don't want big fights in the boardroom. I don't want any pissing contests, if that's what we want to call it. As far as I'm concerned, that's my club. I want it settled, and it needs to get settled very quickly. And hopefully, John Gilligan, with the assistance of other board members, will be able to do that. I don't know if Mr. King has got any serious thoughts about coming back into Rangers. I really don't know, and I don't think he has.
He can't move them, but unfortunately, with the setup and what's happening is 60% say no. It doesn't matter what he says. He might be right.
Of course, all I'm saying is from me. I can only speak personally. As far as I'm concerned, at the present moment, we've got the correct chairman in. He's a Rangers man at heart. And I'm afraid that the other chairmen have been there, have obviously, through illness, they had to stand down.
Let's be honest, John Bennett's a Rangers man through and through as well.
Yes, I know, pal. I'm not saying they're not. I'm only saying the guy that's in there now has stepped up. And I don't know how far he wants to go with it. But as far as I'm concerned, he's got my support. I don't really think too much about Dave King, to be honest. We may have to, because something... I don't want any shenanigans. I don't want him to come in and saying, I've got more shares than you and all the rest of it. We know that King's got a lot of shares, the biggest shareholder.
15%.
Yeah. So,
14%.
Well, he might try to muscle, but I think he could be easily voted outvoted, should I say. So I don't want that to happen. I want the club to get settled, and hopefully John Gilligan will be able to do, with the assistance of the board and the other members, will be able to do that and bring it back into line again.
Just for the record, Dogbeg, you were right with your 14%, yeah?
Was it?
14.12. Sounds you
I didn't want to mention that. I didn't want to mention 1, 2. Very precise in this programme. Aye, just getting back to Dave King. Just getting back to the Dave King one quickly, mate. I've not got a bone to
No,
take or
done some
grind.
great things for us, mate. Great things.
Aye, at the end of the day, we all need to be on. They all need to be, they all need to be honest with each other, with themselves and each other. They're doing the right thing for Rangers with their voting and the way they're thinking and what they're wanting for the club. And if by blocking somebody, is that harming the club or is it benefiting it? I don't know, mate. They'll only know. But I don't want personalities to come in here, and I don't want old scars and old fights to raise their head and get revenge and all that nonsense needs to go, mate. What is the right thing for the club? Now, if Dave King is not the only one that needs to ask questions, the whole board need to ask questions. That what's your long-term view of Rangers? Where do you see us going? Are you going to commit yourself to Rangers long-term? It's all right saying that Dave King's in to smart it up, as Smith said, and then sell his shares. He might be very well doing that. But the rest of them, if he's going to commit long-term, you're going to ask them the question to commit long-term. Are you going to do it? So as far as I'm concerned, every one of them, what's the best for Rangers? No you, what's the best for Rangers?
All right, well, listen, interesting, and I'm sure this story will run and run and run. Last word for your good self, briefly, Smurf. I know that goes against the grain, briefly, because I don't go overtime on here.
No, thanks for having me on. And look, I think whatever's going on in the background, I think we need to get behind Philip Clement and Niels Coppin, because so far their judgment has proved to be sound in some of the youngsters that they've brought in. I think that's the way forward. So, good night, and again, thanks for having us on.
Cheers, mate. Blue shoots. I'm not getting overboard at the moment. Blue shoots. Albert.
Interesting conversation tonight, mate. A lot of things get off the chest there tonight. So I enjoyed it, mate, and I agree. Clement and Cloppin seem to be doing a decent job, and as I'm with you, I'm not getting overly excited, but I like what I'm saying. They're giving me an appetite to go and watch them again live. So I'll be back at the Hibs game, and I'm going forward. I'll carry on, but aye, enjoy the show. Thanks for Bridge. Thanks for being on the Bridge.
Bridgeman.
What can I say? What else, sir? That was a brilliant show tonight. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant questions and brilliant comments getting made by everybody. And a big thank you to Albert for carrying me through here, and obviously for yourself for running the show and your techie boys in the background. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, this is our club. We need to get it back and get it nursed back to its feet again. Let's get going and do it. Keep it going for the Rangers, everybody. Just keep it going.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out, because I don't think it's going away, Albert. Yeah,
no,
I don't think it's going away, because it's too. There's moves. It's like a chessboard, isn't it? And some people have made their opening gambits, haven't they?
It seems to be that way, mate. Definitely
Looks that way for outside looking in, yeah. Even though we're on the inside looking out, if you know what I mean.
Aye, but it needs to be resolved. One way or another, it needs to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. Right, listen, thanks to Smurf for joining us. Thanks to Albert and Bridge for taking on the show tonight, and obviously dealing with some of the stuff after pub part, which we don't always talk about. And thanks to Fox for the belting of the story before the show with the Beezer. Thanks for that, Fox. Thanks to everybody for listening. Rangers Radio will be back tomorrow night. Guided as usual by the one and only Old School Blue, in charge of the technical, supported by Mr. Fox. Enjoy your rest of your evening, and the show will be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10. Take it away, Old School Blue.